Hello, my name is Dara Tomasson. I am a professional long arm quilter where I have a business that people bring me their quilts. I quilt them for them. I also teach other long armers how to be more effective with running their business, and I teach them skills on how to increase their free motion quilting abilities. So today's video is all about tension on the top of your machine. If this is something you're interested in and the things I'm saying you really like, please consider subscribing to my channel. There's a little link, the subscribe button, you just click it, and then there's a little bell, and the bell will let you know when I have new videos coming out. I have videos coming out every Wednesday. And if there's other videos that you're interested in watching that I haven't provided yet, please let me know. I'm always looking to help serve other long arm quilters. Okay, so I have the privilege of quilting on my Gamma machine, and that is what I'm speaking directly about. But I think it's basically a similar process with all other long arms. So one of the things that you have to, and sounds like super elementary, but one of the things that if you're having problems with your tension below is that the first thing I do is I rethread my machine. And I'm like, this happened to me where I thought I had it totally threaded properly, and I called in to get some help, and I took a picture, and they're like, actually, you don't have it right. So I was super embarrassed. So sometimes, like, it's just as simple as rethreading it and using the guide that comes with the book that comes with the long arm to make sure you have it threaded properly. So sometimes it's just as simple as that. Another part with your tension problems could be change your needle. So if you can't remember the last time you changed your needle, it's probably time to change your needle. And so that's another thing that you can do. Another part about the tension problems along with the needle is what is your thread size. So is the thread size you're using and the needle size you're using, are they compatible? So I do have a guide that I will include in the notes here below, and you can just kind of check that out to make sure that you are using the right size needle to the right size thread. That makes a huge difference. Another part about having good tension is within these dials here. So we have this dial and we have this dial. So the first dial, this basically, so if you can imagine two paper plates that are, so this is my paper plates that are being pulled together, they're opening and shutting. So the more you have it, the tighter it is, the harder the thread has to work through to go through that space. And if you loosen it, then the thread is looser, right? And so it can flow more freely. So depending on the size of your thread will depend on how wide these are or how narrow these are and how tight. And so that is why we adjust the tension, because we have different widths of thread and it needs to be fed through the machine with the right amount of pressure to have the right amount of tension on the thread when it's coming through. So we have this one, and my recommendation is that you just do one little turn and then you sew, and then you turn again. So again, the same principle, lefty loosey, righty tighty. And so then you can get that. Now this tension as well, this is another set of tension discs. In here we have a check spring. Another thing that can happen, so this is the same principle, if it's too tight or too loose. This little 3-ring one here is also pretty significant. So if you have really slippery thread, or you're having problems, if there's a twist in the thread, if it's not as good a quality thread, you have a twist in it, if you actually twist around this one dial and just bring it along and come back up, then that can help take that twist out. So there is some play that can happen with this one here. If you I usually just go up this one, down that one, and then up through this one. If you have all three, that's also a way to help that thread really be moving in the right direction. And so that's a nice flow. So again, we have this tension. This one actually is the one that I use mostly This one I don't worry so much about because it's basically just guiding the thread through the hoop, and so I don't need to adjust it as much. This is where it's a lot more sensitive, where the thread is going that way. So just a review about tension and thread. If you have a problem on the bottom of your quilt, it's usually because you have a problem with the tension on the top. But having said that, it may not be tension at all. It may just be that the thread is not going through the process that it's supposed to. Another thing that happens to me is these dials, the thread can sometimes pop out of it, and so it's on the outside of the tension discs, and so of course it's not going to work properly. And so that's something just to, I always just kind of do a visual when I'm quilting. All right, first thing is it threaded properly? Second thing you check, when's the last time I changed my needle? If you can't remember, then it's time to change your needle. The third thing to do is if you check on here. So these tension discs, lefty loosey, righty tighty, I would suggest go loose and then see how that goes, and then just a little bit of time. If you can imagine the face of a clock, just one little increment at a time on that face of the clock, and then you adjust that way. And then another problem that can occur when you are having tension problems is you can get rough spots in these little guides here. And so if it's breaking more often, you can actually just imagine like it's like dental floss, and you just kind of push the thread like this back and forth, and if it rips really easily, then obviously you've got a burr or you have a problem there. So that's another thing to check. And the same thing down here leading into your needle. So there are some really quick ways that you can check your machine when you're having those tension issues. I hope you enjoyed this video, this quick little check for you to making sure that there's not a significant tension problem. These are quick little fixes that can help you to have less time unpicking and having unhappy stitches, to spending a lot more time creating beautiful stitching. If you like this video, please consider subscribing, and if you have any comments, just leave them below. I would love to hear from you. If you want to find me, I'm on Dara Tomasson on Instagram, and my website is daratomasson.com with no H. All right, take care. Bye-bye.